Hell's Angels biker bought Sonny Barger's storage unit. What he found left him in tears. The desert sun was sinking behind the rusted line of storage units when Ryder Holt, known on the road simply as Rhino, stood staring at the padlock he had just cut open. The air smelled of dust, oil, and something older. Something sacred. He had seen many things in his life as a Hell's Angels biker, but nothing prepared him for the weight that pressed on his chest when he learned whose abandoned unit he'd bought at the auction. It belonged to Sonny Barger, the legend, the founder, the man whose presence rode like thunder through every chapter, even after his passing. Everyone expected the unit to be empty. Everyone thought anything valuable had been claimed long ago. But the auctioneer's shrug and the word unclaimed changed everything. Rhino's hands trembled as the door groaned upward. If you believe in kindness, redemption, and second chances, make sure to like, comment, share, and subscribe to the channel. Your support helps stories like this reach more hearts. Inside, the dim light cut through the dust clouds like faded memories waking up after years of silence. Rhino stepped forward slowly, his boots crunching over gravel and forgotten scraps. Old cardboard boxes sagged at the edges. A torn leather jacket hung from a nail, stiff with age yet powerful in its presence. A black and white photograph of a younger Sonny sat atop a metal trunk, his grin wide, rebellious, unbreakable. Rhino felt something shift inside him. He wasn't just a buyer here, he was trespassing on history. Rhino had grown up admiring Sonny Barger. Like most young bikers, he'd heard the stories, the wild ones, the dangerous ones, the ones about loyalty and brotherhood that stitched the club together tighter than blood. But Rhino's own road had been rough, filled with mistakes that chased him like shadows at sunset. He had lost friends, trust, even pieces of himself along the way. When Sonny died, Rhino felt a strange emptiness, as if the world had lost a compass pointing toward raw honesty and hard-earned respect. Standing in that unit, he felt closer to the man than he ever had. He moved deeper, lifting boxes, brushing off dust, discovering pieces of a life lived on the edge. There were letters written in delicate handwriting, some yellowed from years of waiting. There were patches from early club days, edges frayed but colors still bold. There was an old leather-bound journal, scarred and heavy, as if it contained more miles than words. Rhino hesitated before opening it. Something told him it wasn't meant to be rushed. What struck him more than the objects was the weight of silence that filled the room. Not an empty silence, but a respected one, like the pause after a eulogy when the memories hit hardest. Rhino realized he wasn't just sorting through someone's belongings. He was walking through the echoes of a man who shaped an entire culture. And he wondered why fate had placed this at his feet. Why him? Why now? He opened the journal slowly, the leather creaking. Inside, the first few pages were filled with messy handwriting, raw thoughts, fragments, reflections. Sonny had written about loyalty, regret, leadership, and the burdens he carried behind the legend people worshipped. There were entries about brothers he lost, choices he wished he could change, and a kind of softness he rarely showed the world. Rhino felt the words carve through him, exposing things he had buried years ago. One line made him stop breathing for a second. A real man isn't the one who never falls. He's the one who stands back up and chooses to ride forward. Rhino closed his eyes. That was him, the man who had fallen too many times. The man who wasn't sure he even deserved to stand up anymore. But reading Sonny's words felt like being pulled to his feet by a hand he thought he'd never touch. At the bottom of one box he found a patched-up denim vest, old but unmistakably important, tucked inside. The pocket was a folded note. Rhino unfolded it gently. The handwriting was Sonny's again. It read, "Give this to someone who needs reminding that every road can still lead home." Rhino sank onto an overturned crate, his throat tight. He had spent years drifting through life, feeling like every road he took pulled him further from who he once wanted to become. And now he was holding a message from a legend telling him something he never believed he deserved, that he could still choose his direction. As he continued exploring, Rhino found a small box containing a tarnished ring engraved with tiny wings, an early club symbol not used anymore. There was also a faded photograph of Sonny standing next to a younger biker who looked almost identical to Rhino. The resemblance hit him like a storm. He flipped the picture over. On the back were scribbled words, "For the next generation. Don't forget where you come from." Rhino felt tears gather, not the loud kind, but the deep ones that build slowly, born from wounds no one sees. Hours passed without him noticing. The sun had set completely. Darkness filled the storage rows, but inside the unit, Rhino felt something glowing, something warm, something human. He reorganized everything with care, wiping dust away, folding jackets, placing patches neatly. He wasn't cleaning a storage unit. He was honoring a man who had lived fiercely and left a trail for others to find their strength. Near the back, he found something small but profound, a keychain, cracked at the edges with the words, "Ride with Purpose," stamped into the metal. Rhino held it in his palm, feeling the cool weight. It was simple. It was humble. But it spoke louder than all the stories he had ever heard. Sonny's legacy wasn't about rebellion or power. It was about living with intention, even in the chaos. Rhino stepped outside, the night breeze brushing against his face like a quiet reminder that he was still alive, still breathing, still capable of choosing. He looked back at the unit, no longer just an auction purchase, but a turning point. He felt something in his chest unclench for the first time in years. If this story touched your heart, please like, comment, share, and subscribe. Your engagement helps these real-life stories reach more people who need them. Before we end, tell me in the comments, what does Ride with Purpose mean to you personally? And with that question lingering in the night air, Rhino closed the storage door gently, carrying with him not just items from Sonny Barger's past, but the beginning of a new road. One filled with redemption, direction, and a purpose he thought he had lost forever.